Yes. So in the last class, we were discussing about the terminology associated with the critical elements in BitTorrent. We'll quickly refresh through these elements. We have a seed, which is a node with a complete file, and this seeder is like an initial file which will allow other people to download the file and become the seeds. Then we have a leech. A leech is a node that is still downloading the file, that is, it does not have the complete file. So a leecher may have only just one part of the file and it is still downloading the file. Then we have peers. Now peers are node that run the BitTorrent client, and even though we are talking about peer-to-peer, we are still calling it a BitTorrent client because the tracker is called a server. It can be a seed or a leech. That is, a peer could be a seed or a leech depending upon its downloading status. Then we have subpieces. Now a file is divided into pieces and each piece is further divided into subpieces. So a piece is made up of 16 subpieces. So whenever you are requesting from a peer a chunk of some file, so that request will always be at a subpiece level. And in order to ensure that you can download a file faster, you can request up to 5 subpieces at any given time. Another important thing to note is that a peer can only upload if it has received the complete piece. So if you have got like each piece consists of 16 subpieces. So if you have received like even 15 subpieces, you cannot like upload or send that piece to other peers on the network. You can only do that if you have received all of the 16 subpieces. So partial piece upload is not allowed on BitTorrent. So now let us recall the join operation. So as part of the join, a leecher gets a list of peers from the tracker. That is, tracker tells the leecher that, okay, these are also the list of peers who are downloading the same file as you are. Now, there are two challenges that we talked about last time. That is, which piece or the sub piece to request. This is taken care by the piece selection algorithm. And from whom should you request for a piece or a sub piece? So this is the choking algorithm. So we are saying that we need to know which piece should I request. So a file is divided into pieces and we have a piece selection algorithm that will like help us with deciding what piece we should request. So once you have decided that, okay, I'm going to ask for this piece or this sub piece, then the question is from whom should you request for that piece? And you are a peer on this P2P network and you will also receive requests for pieces and sub pieces. So you need to decide whose request you would accept and whose you would deny. So this aspect of accepting or rejecting requests is taken care of by the choking algorithm. So we all have seen that a piece of a file in a BitTorrent is typically 256 KB, which is broken down into 16 subpieces, and each of these subpieces is 16 KB in size. And as previously mentioned, until a complete piece is assembled, we only keep downloading the subpieces of that file, that subpieces of that piece. And this is done in order to ensure that the piece is assembled quickly and so that it can be transmitted or uh, uploaded to other peers on the network. So, and just to ensure that a faster download is available, you can request up to 5 subpieces at any given time. And once a piece is completed, you can notify the peers that, okay, I have the complete piece now. I can share that piece with you all. like all the peers who are part of your swarm. So this is piece and subpieces. Now let us see the piece selection algorithm. Now, overall goal of BitTorrent is to enable fast download of the entire file. But the challenges here are that since we are part of a P2P network, the peers come and go. That is, the peers present on our peer-to-peer network are not permanent. They come and go as they please. That is, we have a transient population of nodes. And another challenge here is that the initial seeder may be off. So we have mentioned previously that when we are forming a peer-to-peer swarm, we need to ensure that we have one node, which is the seed, who has the complete file. So when we are forming a peer-to-peer swarm, we need to ensure that one peer on that swarm has the complete file, and that node is called the seeder. So the challenges are twofold. One is that the peers on the network could come and go, and the other that the initial seeder who has all the pieces of the file may be off, or it may crash or gets taken down. So these two challenges exist in a BitTorrent network. So we cannot always rely on the fact that the initial seeder will always be present. So now let us see what can go wrong if we don't pay attention to piece selection. So if you're not selecting the pieces that we need in a careful manner, we may end up in a situation where none of the peers in the swarm may have the missing piece. And in this case, what will happen is that our download will not be able to complete. That is, we'll not be able to complete our download. So it is very important to ensure that there is someone out there within the swarm that has all the missing pieces. That is, we have a seeder on our network. Now, this basically implies that when you are selecting pieces, globally, you need to ensure that there is only a small overlap of pieces across the peers. So what we mean is, suppose you have peers who have certain number of pieces. So suppose peer 1 has 2, 3, 4, 5 piece, and peer 2 has 3, 4, 5, 6 piece. So we don't want the pieces to overlap very much. We want pieces to be present in such a manner that when all those peers present in the swarm, the pieces from all those peers present in the swarm are taken together, we may be assembled to get all the pieces, we may be able to get and assemble all the pieces of that file. So if there is a large amount of overlap, then there is a good chance that you may not get all the pieces. So in other words, in requesting for a piece, which piece should you request first? Because there could be a chance that all the peers who are part of the swarm may be waiting for the same missing piece. And that has happened because the pieces are overlapping. That is, like peers on the swarm have all the common pieces, but few rare pieces are not there. So we have two policies that we use for selecting the pieces. One is the rarest piece first policy, and the other is the random piece first policy. So if you're talking about the rarest piece first policy, what we do is that when we are requesting for a piece, the general rule in the rarest piece first policy is that you should always request for the rarest piece first. So the policy here is that you request and download the piece which is the most rare among all the peers in your swarm. And this, what it does is it ensures that the overlapping pieces, the common pieces, are left for last. That is, you can download the common pieces, the overlap pieces in the last in the last section of the download. But the rarest piece that is like very not present with most of the peers on the network, you download it first. So what it will ensure is that even if the seeder goes down, you will still have the rarest piece. And you can complete your download by getting the common pieces from other peers. So now the rarest piece first is the general policy. You request the piece which is owned by the least number of peers on your network. So in this way, the initial seed that is out there, you can get more information from it. So when you get the rarest piece first, you also ensure that you are able to replicate the rarest piece as quickly as possible in the network. So when we get the rarest piece first, the downloads can happen more quickly because the common pieces are available with many other peers on the network. And if you get the rare pieces, you are quickly able to request for pieces from different nodes on the network because different nodes have almost all the common pieces. So this is the rarest piece first policy. That is, you download the pieces which are most rare on your network and you leave the common pieces for the last. Now, second policy is random piece first policy. So what this policy says is that you are like a new node on the network. You are a very new peer on your swarm. And in the beginning, you don't want to like keep waiting for the rarest like piece first, because what will happen then is that you have no piece to share with other peers on the network. So it is important to get a piece so that you can share pieces with other nodes in the network. So you need to assemble the first piece quickly so that you can start to upload it to others. So which is why at the beginning, what you need to do is you need to do your best to get one piece so that you can start the upload to like the uploading of this piece to other nodes. And after that, you can go for the rarest first. So what we're doing in the piece selection algorithm is that we have identified two policies. One policy says that you should download the rarest piece first and leave all the common pieces for the last. And the other policy, which is the random first policy, the random first says that you don't have to go for the rarest piece. You first need to find one piece that is get any piece so that you can upload that piece to other nodes on the network and you have pieces to trade. So what finally the BitTorrent piece selection algorithm does is you get the random piece first. That is, in the beginning, you get one piece. And then after that, you go for the rarest first. So your first goal is to get any piece which will allow you to upload that piece or trade pieces on the swarm. Once you have one piece, you can then go for the rarest piece on the swarm. So this is the piece selection algorithm. So let us see how that happens. So here we have a peer that says I have piece 12,736. So we make an entry here for the pieces. Okay, that this, suppose this is peer 1, that peer 1 has 12,736 pieces, the sub pieces. And there is this another peer which has 12,714. So we make another entry for that. And here we have a peer which has the 14th subpiece. So we make another entry. Now we are saying that in the rarest first policy, we will not go for the overlapping pieces. So here the overlapping pieces are 12, 7, because it is overlapping that like these are overlapping pieces because more than one peer has these pieces. So we will not go for this subpiece 12 or this subpiece 7. We will also not go for this subpiece 14, and which is also present with two peers on the network. So here the rarest piece or the rarest subpiece is 36. So what we'll first do is we will go for the piece 36 here. So this is how the rarest first policy is implemented. You don't go for overlapping pieces. You first go for the rarest piece. So here the rarest piece is 36. So once you get this piece 36, you can begin sending these pieces, begin uploading these pieces to different nodes on the network. So in this way, the rarest piece will not become like rare when it has been sent or transmitted to different peers on the network. And since the rarest piece is no longer rare anymore, the other common pieces can be downloaded because almost different peers on the network will have that piece. So your downloading becomes faster. So this is the rarest first policy. Now, let us say that you have gotten all the pieces except for one piece, and this one piece is taking a lot of time to download. And the reason why this happens, that a piece is taking a longer time to download, is that it may happen that you are downloading a piece from a peer that has a very low transfer rate. So in this case, what will happen is that your download is going to stall. Stall in the sense that you will not be able to download your piece for a very, very long time because your transmission rate is very slow. So here what will what's happening is that you have like assembled all the pieces except for one piece, and this piece is taking a lot of time to download, and that is happening because the peer that you are downloading from has a very low transmission rate. So in this case, you are not able to assemble the complete file, you are not able to become the seeder because the low transmission rate is causing your download to stall. Now, in order to avoid the situation, there is something called as the end game. So we have a end game mode where the last piece is the piece that you are going to request from all peers. So when you have one piece left, so you're going to request all the sub pieces of that one piece, and you are going to send that request to every peer on your swarm. So what you are doing here is that you are going to send request of all the sub pieces to all the peers on your swarm. Now in this case, you may likely get multiple copies of the same sub pieces, but you can always cancel the request later once you have downloaded all the sub pieces. So this ensures that the completion of a file is not prevented due to some slow peer on the network. And also, it causes some bandwidth wastage because you are downloading that one single piece or some of the sub pieces of that single piece from all different peers on your swarm. But this mode is like very short, and it is okay because otherwise your file transfer is going to take a lot of time. And it may also happen that because of those little sub pieces of the last piece, your download may stop completely. So you won't be able to download your file. So in order to prevent that case, when all the sub pieces that the peer does not have are requested, the request is sent to every peer on your swarm. When the sub piece arrives, the duplicate requests are cancelled. That is, if you may likely get multiple copies, but you can always cancel the request. And since all the pieces have a hash number associated with them, they also implement a checksum mechanism which allows you to assemble the file in one complete manner. That is, there are no redundant or duplicate sub-pieces in the complete file. So you have mechanisms which will ensure that even if you request a single sub-piece from multiple peers, you are still getting a complete original file. And this like endgame mode also ensures that your computation is not like getting slow, and the file completion is not prevented due to slow transmission rates due to slow peers. So this is the end game mode. Now, piece selection algorithm was like implemented in order to decide which piece to request. Then we have another algorithm which is known as the choking algorithm, which will help us decide like the peers from whom we are going to request for the pieces. And since we are also peers on the network, we may also have some files. So we will also need to decide whose request we are going to accept and whose request for some pieces, sub pieces, we are going to deny. So let us see what this choking algorithm is. So suppose you have decided which piece you are going to request. Let us now see which among the list of peers should you contact. Now, the goal of the choking algorithm is to ensure that all the peer resources are utilized efficiently. Now, we'll see how these resources are efficiently utilized. But there are several challenges also associated with choking. Now, the biggest challenge here is that we have freeloaders in our peer-to-peer network. We have previously talked about freeloaders. That is, freeloaders are peers or node on the network who are only downloading from the network, but they are not uploading anything to the network. So there are some nodes on the network who will keep using the network for downloading the file, but they will not use their resources for providing the network or the peers on the network with some files or media or anything. So these kind of nodes are known as freeloaders. So we need to do something about these freeloaders. So BitTorrent employs a very good strategy which is known as tit for tat strategy. So when you're downloading from peer, that is when you are in a performing a downloading operation, you can download from whoever you can. For uploading, you do it via tit for tat strategy. That is, you upload to peers who are uploading to you. In other words, you share with those, that is, you're sharing pieces or sub pieces with those peers who are sharing the pieces with you. And those who are not sharing with you, who are only like downloading from you, but they're not providing you or uploading to you, you choke them. That is, you don't share the pieces that you have with them. So the tit for tat strategy says that when you are downloading, you can download from whoever you want to, whoever the list of peers are available. But when you are uploading, when you are providing information, you do it via the tit for tat strategy, and you upload to peers who are uploading to you. That is, those peers who are sharing their files with you, you share your files with them only. Now, the result of this is that you have connections which are transmitting data in both directions. So this will allow you to like establish bilateral, bidirectional connections which are running continuously. So this is the basic concept associated with tit for tat strategies. Now, while you are downloading from some peers, you should also keep probing some new peers. So the reason for probing new peers is that like you do it with a hope that there may be like some new peers on the network, like some new peers may have come on the network that may provide you with a better transfer rate. And we know that this is a peer-to-peer network and the nodes come and go. So it may happen that while you are busy downloading from some peer, it may happen that some new peers have joined the network, which may provide you with a better transfer rate. So while downloading, you also keep identifying or finding new peers with the hope that they will provide you with a better transfer rate, that you'll be able to download your pieces and sub pieces faster. So in implementing the tit for tat strategy, choking is a very important aspect. Now you can think of choking as nothing but temporary refusal to upload to a peer. You are refusing that you will not upload to that peer. Now, in choking, what happens is a peer can choke and unchoke peers. Choking peers means that you are not uploading to them, and unchoking peer, some peer means that you are permitting the uploading. So any peer can permit upload, that is unchoking, to a fixed number of peers. The point I'm trying to make here is that you have some free riders on the network who are only using the network for downloading, but they're not uploading anything to the network. To overcome that, we are implementing a tit for tat strategy, which allows you to download from whoever you can. But when you're uploading something, you upload to only those peers who are uploading to you. That is, you share your files with only those peers who are sharing their files with you, who are not only taking your files, but they are giving something to you in return. So there is a limit to the number of peers that you can unchoke. That is, the number of peers who you are permitting to upload. So this number is fixed, and this is defined as like a number 4. That is, there are 4 peers that you can unchoke at any given point of time. So at any given point of time, you only unchoke 4 best peers that will provide you with a good upload uh, rate, that is good rate for transmission in case of uploading. That is, at any given time, a given peer is ready to share the file with only 4 peers, the 4 best peers. Now, among these 4 peers, we will select 3 peers that will provide us with the best transfer rate. But this 4th peer, now as mentioned previously, that we should keep probing peers who keep joining the network for better chances for providing us with a good transmission rate. So you will, from the 4 peers that you are allowed to unchoke, you will reserve 3. That is, you are permitting upload to these 3 peers, but one you are reserving with the hope that some peer will come who will provide you with a better transmission rate. So you're uploading to 3 peers, but there is one 4th peer which is left unchoked in the hope of finding better transmission rates. So this is called as optimistic unchoke. You are unchoking 4 peers, 3 you are already uploading to, but the 4th peer is like the position for the 4th peer is left vacant in the hope that you will find some peer on the network which will provide you with better transmission rates, and this is known as optimistic choking. So optimistic choking is nothing but selecting a random peer for better choice for providing you with better transmission rates, And this random peer is rotated every 30 seconds. That is, you're giving a chance for a newly joined peer to get data to download. So this is choking. That is, it will ensure that every node cooperates and it prevents free riding problem. That is, you are not only using the network for downloading, but you will also use it for uploading. And the goal here is to have bidirectional connections that are running continuously between peers. And choking is nothing but a temporary refusal to upload something to a peer. You are downloading from whoever you can, but you are refusing to upload to somebody who is not uploading to you. And the connections are kept open, so there is no cost associated with setting the up connections, etc. And at any given time, you can unchoke only the 4 best peers. Out of these four, 3 you are using for uploading, whereas you keep one space reserved for some peer who will have better transmission rate. And you are randomly selecting a peer and you are rotating this unchoking every 30 seconds in the hope of finding a new peer who has joined the network. So this is choking, and this is the tit for tat strategy. That is, cooperate if other peers are cooperating. We have a choking mechanism. We choke all peers except the top 4 loaders, and we also have an optimistic unchoke for eventual cooperation and recovery. That is, leaving one peer unchoked with the possibility of finding somebody who will provide you with better transmission rate, who will provide you with better cooperation, and will help you upload the file easily. So here we see that the peer 1 is unchoked. Unchoked in the sense that you can upload to this peer, and peer 2 here is choked. But you see that peer 1 here provides you with a slow upload. So what we do here is we like do away with this connection and use peer 2 for uploading. That is, we choke peer 1 and we unchoke peer 2. Now, next we'll talk about anti-snubbing. Now, it may happen that a peer is snubbed. So, what we mean by snubbing is that a peer is choked by all the nodes on your swarm. So, this possibility can happen that since you are allowed to have only 4 unchoked peers, it may happen that you as a peer are choked by all the peers you were downloading some file from. So you need to download a file from a bunch of peers, and if all of them are not sharing the file with you, you are snubbed. And when you are snubbed, it is very difficult to download a file because you will not be able to find peers who will like upload to you, and you will not be able to download from them. So the policy here is that the peers who are snubbed would stop uploading to any of the peers on their network, on their swarm, since no one is giving the file to them, no one is uploading to them. So when over a minute has gone by without receiving even a single piece from any of the peers, you do not upload to anyone except as an optimistic unchoke, sorry. So what we are saying is, if you are snubbed, that is, you are choked by all the peers, it may cause you to not be able to like download your file. So in that case, what you'll do is you will snub peers. That is, the snub peers will stop uploading whatever pieces or sub pieces they have, to any of the peers on the network because nobody is uploading to them. And you were busy like downloading some file and all of a sudden you are snubbed. You don't have any pieces or sub pieces, you don't have any peers who you can download from. So when this snubbing happens, what will happen is that there will be a lag in your download. You will not be able to complete, you will not be able to finish downloading your file. So now, as said earlier, each peer is doing an optimistic unchoking for only one peer. That is, we have 4 positions open that you can only have 4 peers to which you can upload to. 3 of them are pre-decided that depending upon the best transfer rates. One is always kept open with the hope that some peer will come that will have a good transmission rate. So each peer does optimistic choking for only one peer. But since these peers who are snubbed will do optimistic choking more often. So we are saying that you're not uploading to anyone, but there is this concept called as optimistic choking, where you will allow uh, like allow other peers to connect to you with the hope that you may discover a new peer that is willing to upload to you. So the peers that are snubbed will be those peers who will be willing to do optimistic choking more often. So now let us say that you have finished downloading a file completely. In other words, that you have become a seeder now. Now the question is, who do you upload to? Now before going through that, let us see what it says here. So the policy is that when over a minute has gone by without receiving a single sub piece from a particular peer, do not upload to like any peers, only perform optimistic unchoking. So we have already seen this scenario that a peer may find itself being simultaneously choked by all its peers that it was just downloading from. And when that happens, there will be a lag in the download until the snub peer performs optimistic unchoking operation to find better peers. So if choked by everyone, the snub peer increases the number of optimistic unchokes to find a new peer that is willing to upload to it. So this is optimistic anti-snubbing operation, and anti-snubbing is performed with the help of optimistic unchoking. So as I was previously saying that you have finished downloading a file completely and you have become a seeder on your swarm. So now how do you decide, or who do you upload that file to? Now earlier, the list of people you were uploading to was dependent on whom you were downloading from. That is, there was bidirectional connection established between the 2 peers. So in this case, when you have become a seeder, what you do is that you upload to those that are providing the best transfer rates or the best upload rate. So the idea here is that since some peers, you are a seeder and you have some peers that are providing you with a good upload rate. So what you can do is you can ensure that you upload to those peers. That is, you provide information to those peers who have good upload rate. So what this will ensure is that the pieces would get replicated faster. So you have peers on the network who are not seeders, who are still leechers, and they are requesting some file from you. and you know that it will provide you with a good upload rate. So you will allow them to download files from you, to request files from you. And the reason you're doing so is that since they have good upload rate and we have policies to ensure that free riding does not happen, the peers with good upload rate would ensure that the pieces get replicated faster, which implies there can be more and more seeders in the future. So this is another optimization that the BitTorrent employs. So once the download is complete and you have become a seeder, you are not concerned about the download rates, and you don't compare download rates of different like peers. So you need to then decide which nodes you will be uploading to. So the policy here is that you upload to the top 4 peers who will provide you with the best or the maximum upload rate. And the idea is that since they have a very good upload rate, it will ensure that the file, the sub pieces and the pieces get replicated faster and ensure that there are more seeders in the network in the future. So this is known as the upload only or the seeding mode. Now we'll finally see how the overall system works. So we know that a BitTorrent network is a peer-to-peer network, and a peer-to-peer network is made up of peers, and peers are divided into either leechers or into seeds. Leechers are peers who are still downloading, that is they do not have the complete file, while seeders are peers on the network who have the entire file with them. So whenever we have a new leecher who wants to like download some BitTorrent file, what it will do is it will go to some website which contain the metadata torrent files, and it will request that torrent file from the website. The website will provide this new leecher with the metadata, that torrent file, and as previously mentioned, that this torrent file will consist of the name of the file, and since we know that the file is divided into pieces and each of these pieces are called the sub pieces, there will be hash associated with each piece. Now every piece of every file present on the BitTorrent network will have a unique hash. We also have piece size mentioned as part of the metadata information. We have the checksum. We also have the length of the file. So this is the metadata information present inside the torrent file, and you also have the URL of the tracker present there. So this file is provided to the new leecher. The leecher, as mentioned, that the metadata file also has the URL or the IP address of the tracker. It contacts the tracker that, okay, I want to join the network because I want to download certain file. Then what happens is the tracker provides this new leecher with the peer list, that is the list of peers who are downloading the same file. So the tracker provides this new leecher with a peer list. We are contacting the tracker, we are obtaining the peer list. And once we get the peer list, we'll know who the seeder is. So we can contact the peer from that list and directly request them for the pieces and the sub pieces. So this is how we join a torrent. Next, let us see how exchanging of data takes place. So here we have a leecher A. This represents verified pieces, and this is using hashes. So what we are seeing here is we have some leechers on the network. We'll have some leechers, we have some seeders. And typically in a new swarm, there is only one seeder to ensure that the complete file is available to all leechers on the network. So here we have a leecher A who is like downloading the file. It gets one piece from B, some piece from seed, and some piece from another leacher C. So what is happening is that sub pieces are being downloaded in parallel. And once all the sub pieces for a given piece have been received, they are assembled using the hash technique. And then the leacher A can announce that, okay, I have received the complete, like the complete piece, and it can advertise the received piece to the entire peer list or the entire peer-to-peer swarm which it is a part of. Again, we know that the policy that we use is to look for the rarest first. That is, we are using the policy of finding the rarest pieces first. Next, we'll talk about unchoking. So what the peers do is that they'll periodically calculate the data receiving rates, that is the transmission rates, and they will choke the peers who have slow transmission rates and upload or unchoke those peers who have the fastest downloading rates. So here, suppose we have calculated the data receiving rates. We choked this peer, that is, which is a leacher, and we've choked this seeder. We identified that, okay, this leacher A is providing us with a very good transmission rate. So we are unchoking this and uploading to this leacher or peer on the network. And periodically, we would be like performing the unchoking operation that we have previously seen. That is, we'll select a peer at random and upload to it in the hope that we will find some peers on the network which will provide us with maximum upload or maximum transmission rate, provide us with high transmission bandwidth. So this is what we do in optimistic choking. So here again, we have the complete overview of the BitTorrent functioning. You request the torrent file by placing a HTTP GET request. You will get the myfile.torrent. It will have the URL or the IP address of the tracker. You will have hashes of all the subpieces. You will have the length of the file, the name of the file, etc. And using this URL, you will contact the tracker. That is, you will register with the tracker, and the tracker will provide you with the list of peers. That is, here we have up to 50 peers on the network or the swarm, which we are going to be a part of. So swarm is established basis the file that we will be downloading. So here, this was this my file. So these list of peers are those peers who are downloading this myfile.torrent. So it will get the list of 50 different peers from the user is getting the list of 50 different peers from the tracker, and it is up to the user to identify which of these 50 peers it will connect to in order to get the file. So it decides that, okay, it will contact peer 1, peer 2, some other peers in between, and up peer 40 for getting the file. So this is all about the BitTorrent peer-to-peer network. We have completed this BitTorrent network. So we have completed 2 pillars of the blockchain. We have talked about distributed computing, that is, which will help us understand how distributed ledgers are maintained on our blockchain. Second, we have seen how a peer-to-peer network is established, because here also, when we are talking about some blockchain, you will have peers And it will not be necessary that all peers will be online or present on the network. So you will have some transient population of nodes. The nodes would come and go. And you will need to know that if a new node is joining, how will it be able to identify all other peers on that blockchain? So understanding the peer-to-peer network will also help us understand different types of blockchains. We'll study the Bitcoin blockchain, the Ethereum blockchain. So understanding the peer-to-peer networks, how these networks evolve, will also help us understand how different blockchains work. So we have completed distributed computing, we have completed peer-to-peer. Next, we'll see the encryption techniques. We keep talking about these pieces having hashes. So we'll see how integrity or how the like information or transactions on a blockchain are verified, and how we identify that the transactions that are stored in the transaction pool are validated or verified transactions. So in order to do that, we'll study some things about encryption techniques. We'll talk about digital signatures. We'll talk about some secure hash algorithms. Once we do that, we'll talk about consensus. That is how you will pick up some transactions from the pool, create a block, and add it to the blockchain. So in order to do that, we make use of some consensus algorithms. So we'll cover these four basic pillars, and then we'll talk some terminologies and some things about the miners. So this is how we are going about this course. We have completed distributed computing, we have completed peer-to-peer, and next class onwards, we'll start with encryption algorithm. And I think you know that you have a test on Saturday. So the syllabus that is going to be covered on the test is still this BitTorrent peer-to-peer network. So I think we'll end the class here. You can, oh, you have already started putting your enrollment numbers. Okay, if anybody has any questions, you can ask. Otherwise, you can just quit the meeting. Thank you.